Let's make some delicious snowy cherry and Nutella bites, an easy and budget-friendly recipe you're going to love. You can make these croissants with cherries or with any other fruit you like, and if you don't want to use fresh fruit, you can also fill them with a bit of jam. They'll still turn out delicious. What really sets these croissants apart from other types is the dough. It's not soft or brioche-like. It's a dry, crisp, and light pastry. You're going to love it. It's rare to find a dough like this, so easy to work with and with such a unique texture. First, we add 300 grams of pitted cherries or sour cherries, about 2 cups either frozen or fresh, along with their juice. We boil them for just a minute, or until they start to bubble, then remove from heat. We drain them very well to remove all the juice and spread them out on a plate, separating them a bit so they cool faster. We set the plate with the cherries aside and continue with the recipe. Let's weigh the 4 ingredients we need. 400 grams of lard at room temperature, about 1 3/4 cups. 100 grams of butter, 7 tablespoons. 600 grams of plain Greek-style yogurt, about 2½ cups. And 1.2 kilos of all-purpose flour, about 9½ cups. Once we've measured and prepped the ingredients, we sift the flour directly into the mixer bowl. We add the softened butter. If it's not at room temperature, you can warm it for a few seconds in the microwave. We add the lard and the 600 grams of yogurt, 2½ cups. No need to knead beforehand, just turn on the stand mixer and mix until the ingredients are well combined. You can also do this part easily by hand. The idea is just to bring the ingredients together, without overworking the dough. Once the dough is ready, we place it on the work surface, sprinkle with a bit of flour, and knead a little more by hand. We roll it out lightly, divide it into 2 parts, and wrap them in plastic wrap or place them in a bag. The dough needs to rest in the fridge for at least 2 hours to firm up a bit. Here I'm showing you a dough I prepared earlier. I'll swap it now. The one we just made goes into the fridge, and I'll continue with the chilled one. With a knife, I cut a portion of the dough, about 300 grams, around 10.5 ounces. I sprinkle a bit of flour on the surface and roll the dough out on a round board. You can also roll it directly on your work surface and, if you prefer, use a plate to mark a circle. Once you have the circle, use a dough cutter to cut as follows, first in half, then in half again, and then into equal parts. This way, you'll get 12 triangles to form small croissants, just the right size for 2 or 3 bites, no more. The dough is perfect, it rolls out really well, not sticky at all, and super easy to work with. I recommend making this dough because it's great for a large batch of croissants. If you want, you can make only half the amount, or prepare the whole batch and freeze part of it for another day. You can play around with this dough however you like, it's fantastic. With this amount of dough, I got 2.6 kilos, about 5.7 pounds, of croissants. A huge batch of treats to enjoy. Once it's rolled out and cut into 12 triangles, I place the cherries or sour cherries on each triangle. I place 2 or 3 cherries per triangle, then roll the croissant like this. I pinch a little dough at the base to hold the cherries, then with a slight movement of the finger, it forms perfectly. You'll see the dough is thin, strong, and not sticky at all. I'll go ahead and form all the croissants, and to half of the dough I'll add Nutella. I place about half a teaspoon of Nutella on each croissant, or even less, depending on your taste. Once they're all formed, I'll bake them using a convection oven. I got 3.5 trays out of this, and I'll bake all 4 trays at once. If you're using a conventional oven, preheat to 170 degrees Celsius 340 degrees Fahrenheit and bake for 30 to 35 minutes, or until the edges begin to turn golden. No more. If your oven isn't convection, you'll need to bake 1 tray at a time. But if it is, you can bake 3 or 4 trays at once and everything cooks more evenly. Now I'm going to roll them in powdered sugar on a tray. I use a generous amount of powdered sugar and coat several croissants at once, while they're still warm, so they absorb just the right amount. Then I place them on a plate so you can see how many came out. They turned out perfect. In this recipe, the dough has no sugar, so the sweetness comes from the cherries, sour cherries, or Nutella. Then we coat them in powdered sugar while they're still hot, and they absorb a lot of sugar. They'll end up snowy, white, beautiful, and of course, full of sweetness. They're really delicious. I truly suggest you try them. They're amazing the same day, but even better the next day or the day after. I totally recommend them. They're very easy to make, and you don't need a mixer like I show in the video. You can easily knead by hand, just mix the ingredients, chill the dough in the fridge for a couple of hours, roll out, and bake. And that's it. They're honestly so tasty. Thank you so much for being here, for following along, for watching my recipes and commenting on my tutorials. I truly enjoy reading your comments, even if I can't always reply. I'm sorry about that. I'd love to see in the comments if you've made this recipe, because it really is very, very good. It's an old recipe that I love. I use butter, but it was originally made with margarine. If you prefer, you can swap the butter for margarine, no problem. It's a traditional recipe, really good, and for me, it's such a joy to make it, share it, and wait for your feedback. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, give it a like, and share the recipe so it reaches more people. And if you make it, let me know in the comments how it turned out. I'd love to see your versions. Thank you so much, and see you soon.